Hello. Are you just starting the process of home buying here in Minnesota? And are you curious the steps it takes to have a successful move here to the Twin Cities? Well, today's video is going to be talking about the steps that are involved, kind of the checklist, if you want to call it, of a successful home purchase here in Minnesota. My name is Amy Jurek. I'm with RE/MAX. I have been relocating people to the Twin Cities since 2005, and I would love a chance to chat with you about your move here to my metro. Feel free to subscribe to my page below, where also my contact information is listed. The first step in your home purchase is, of course, connecting with a realtor and chatting about the market. But immediately in that conversation, I would give you the advice of connecting with my trusted loan officer. If you've ever heard the horror stories of issues at the closing table and problems and headaches and kind of that rat race at the end of a purchase, that has a lot to do with things that were missed in the lending process that's creating a lot of havoc at the closing table. So first thing would be to chat with a loan officer. During that appointment, they will be going over your assets and your income and debt ratios, credit, etc., to provide you with a range really of what is a comfortable mortgage payment. Based on that mortgage payment, we would then set up a price range for homes to be looking for in the Twin Cities. In our initial conversation, if you've been approved by a national lender, I'm going to strongly urge you to discuss your lending options with a local lender. It is incredibly important in a competitive market that you are working with a lender that has respect in the community, that can get the deals closed on time and have great customer service. All right, so next step, we get to discuss your needs and wants. A lot of this starts with a conversation about location. Where do you need to be close to for work, family, etc.? A discussion of urban versus suburban, resale versus new construction. There's a lot of things that are involved in this initial discussion about what you're looking for in a home. Bedroom count, bathroom count. We might even have some things we want to have in mind about the actual lot, or if there are things that you're going to want to do to the property to further improve it. For example, building out your backyard with a pool or deck. We want to keep all of those in mind in that initial conversation. So we're searching for the right property for you. So gathering all of that information about all your needs and wants, and along with your price range and location, we'd then set up a search in your behalf. So next, I would set up your MLS search. We would take all of the information that you've provided and set up a search to always target and watch new opportunities that come onto the MLS, and they will be automatically sent to you. Also, I'll be networking with agents, both within my brokerage and outside, to come up with opportunities for you that might not make it onto the MLS. And last, if you're very targeted and very specific about a certain type of property in a certain area, we can always do some direct target marketing to those homeowners to come up with opportunities for you that don't exist on the market today. Viewing homes, this is what all the work is for, is getting out there and seeing the homes. And believe me, it can change. You can see a home online. It might look very different in person. So this is kind of when all the magic starts. So going out and viewing those homes, scheduling private appointments and getting into those properties and evaluating them. Most of the time, clients are here to do that. We're kind of side by side walking through the properties together. But a large majority of my clients are not here possibly to see a home. So doing virtual showings is something that I've done for probably close to 12, 13 years now. And this is a different vantage point of looking at a property with you not here. The majority of my virtual showings are done through video that are shot through the house and through the yard and the neighborhood, since you're not here at all. So those videos are something that you can always look back on, you will have record of, and it is really your true showing of the home. So after we're out viewing homes, you might find a home on day one. You might find a home after searching for 3 years. I've really seen a real range on this. But once we do find that home you want to make an offer on, we want to do some quick research. Number one, pull just comps in the neighborhood. See a range on price, see what's been going on within a stone's throw of the home. We're going to want to research and look at the disclosures that the sellers have completed. What kind of work has been done on the home? Has there been any insurance claims? Making sure that things are in operating order per the disclosure. And last, we might just do a check of permits at the city level just to see about work that's been done on the property for the last 20 or 30 years. It kind of gives you a nice snapshot of what has been done, especially if a homeowner has only been on the property a couple years. They don't have much history. Their disclosure might be very, very short. So it might be one last area that we research before we put in that offer on a home. So this is exciting when we get to put in an offer on a home. Now, oftentimes this can be a very fast process, especially if we are anticipating other bids. So what we want to do again is review those comparables, make sure we feel good with price, and you'll kind of have a gut instinct after seeing so many homes when a home is priced right or if it's possibly overpriced and you just feel like it might not even be worth putting in a bid. Close date. This is incredibly important on our purchase agreements. If you are a cash buyer, you can probably close within 2 weeks of making an offer if the seller can vacate the property. But if you have a mortgage, you can expect about 30 days roughly to close. A lot of the close date has to do with the seller being able to vacate and your availability to close. So in a lot of times I feel like I'm a major matchmaker when it comes to close date. So the point of a home inspection is truly to educate the buyer about the home. This is a time for a buyer to be on site, ask the inspector questions about how to use things or how systems work. But if a buyer can't be there, of course, a full report is provided within usually 24 hours of the inspection that provides text and photos so that you can always look back at this report and be reminded of some of the things about the home that were possibly a future, maintenance thing that should be done. At the end of the inspection, this is a time for myself and you to discuss, what's important about this home inspection. Were there things identified on there that were possibly safety or hazardous, or that you feel need to be corrected at the expense or possibly the improvement of the seller? A lot of people have their opinions on if they want the work done by the seller or if they prefer to negotiate dollars and do it later after you close. That is all really up to you as a buyer, but it is a formal contingency to the purchase agreement. So if you do uncover something in the inspection that just does not sit well with you and we can't repair it, or it's just not the right type of situation, you can cancel the purchase agreement here and your earnest money will be refunded. So earnest money is deposited at the time that we have successfully executed a purchase agreement. So that will be after we've presented, the seller is accepted, and it has been signed, and everybody has a copy of that purchase agreement. Then as a buyer, you'll be required to deposit earnest money. It's most common for you to do it electronically, but some people still prefer to do it in in a check form. And what really earnest money is good faith that you're going to be going on and going to be moving forward with the purchase. Once that earnest money has been deposited at the listing broker, it just sits in their trust account until closing, and then it is applied to you as a credit on your settlement statement. What's common here in Minnesota, we have probably 1% to 2% of the purchase price is what you should be expecting for earnest money. Now, earnest money, like I said, it just sits in the broker account until closing. But if there is a cancellation within the timeliness of a contingency, that earnest money would be refunded to the buyer. So there's also a section on our purchase agreement that talks about the financing contingency. This is a timeline in which your lender will be able to provide all the steps needed to close and underwrite your loan. It is really common, especially in a competitive market, that a buyer would provide, or I'm sorry, the loan officer would provide a written statement confirming a buyer's ability to close. And usually this is done a few days or up to a week prior to closing, depending on your close date. This just makes you look like a stronger buyer. And if you are confident in your financing and the lender that you have chosen, there is no reason why you can't include this in an offer. It will also make you stand out with the listing agent and the seller as well. So it is really common to provide a written statement, which is kind of your financing contingency. This letter would be provided by your loan officer about 20 days or so after the completion of your home inspection. So during that time, your lender would be doing a re-verification of all of your financing and completing the appraisal and any insurance on the property as well. So the appraisal is a huge step. An appraiser is a third-party representative. It has no tie to the real estate agent or the lender. It is truly a third party in this transaction. And what they're hired to do is to make an evaluation of the home based on comps and condition, and say to the bank, yes, this home is valued at X amount. Also, the second part of the appraisal is to determine if there's any work orders necessary to be completed before you can close. So the appraisal is probably the biggest milestone of the financing contingency, and this all needs to be done within that timeline. But again, if you're working with a trusted local lender with great customer service, this will get done on time, every time. There is a section on the purchase agreement about a home sale contingency. So if you're in a position where you need to either sell your home or close on your home that you've already sold, you would need to include a home sale contingency. So this contingency puts you under contract with the seller, and the seller is allowed to continue to market the home and show the home. And if the seller gets another offer, what they can do is call your bid, and you would have a certain amount of time, which is usually fairly quick. I've seen it be within maybe 24 to 72 hours, where you would need to provide a purchase agreement on your home that is acceptable to you and is free of a home inspection. The only contingency that can be on your purchase agreement is the financing contingency. So it's a challenge to get these accepted, and when you are called, it's also incredibly challenging. So just keep that in mind if you are thinking about a home sale contingency. The last section of our purchase agreement talks about arbitration. So if there was a situation with you and the seller post-closing, you can either arbitrate to find remedy or litigate to find remedy. Both have pros and cons, and I'm going to list the pros and cons below in a link so that you can review them and make the decision that is best for you. So after we present our offer with the details here that we discussed in this video, hopefully we get a yes, or we'll probably have some sort of wonderful negotiation with the seller. And at that point, hopefully we'll take it down to an executed purchase agreement so that we can start working on the contingencies and doing our earnest money and our home inspections and our financing contingency. So it moves quickly when it happens. So I just wanted you to be prepared in advance. So from the time that the inspections are finished until closing, it feels like a whole lot is sitting around, but the time will go quick. This is the time for you to get excited, get packing, start dreaming up plans for the house or things that you want to do with it to make it your own. We will reconvene at the property for what we call a buyer's final walkthrough. And at that walkthrough, we will make sure that the home is in the condition you purchased, and any work orders that we requested are done properly, and we have receipts and we have approval of those important to-dos that we asked of the seller. And then lastly, we go to closing. So here in Minnesota, we go to a big old closing table. You sit down with your title agent. We do not close in lawyers or attorneys' offices. We are a closing state. So you will sit down with your closer. He or she will go over your documents. This is typically a 30 to maybe 45-minute process where you will, sign your mortgage and your deed, and the title agent will give you information about how to homestead your property in Minnesota. Homesteading your property is super important. It is a slight reduction in your tax, so it's something you're gonna definitely wanna do, and those instructions are provided. The home buying process is exciting, but it also comes with a little stress and confusion along the way. But my job is to represent your best interests, keep you moving through the process, watching the contingencies and the time frames behind the scenes. I would love a chance to chat with you about your home search here in the Twin Cities and how I can make your relocation as seamless as possible. My name is Amy Jurek. I'm with RE/MAX. I have been relocating people to the Twin Cities since 2005, and I would love a chance to chat with you. Please look for my information below, along with the subscribe button as well. Thanks.